Why does Iran have a larger military than Israel? Why is Iran's military budget larger than Israel's? Why does Iran have more tanks, more fighter jets, and more missiles than Israel? Shouldn't Israel, with all of its American support, have a bigger military than Iran? Well, it turns out that there are some very good reasons for this, and none of them have to do with America. We re-gone, nah. Look at some hard facts. And then we re-gone, nah. Look at why these facts exist. Okay, let's start with the big one, the number of military personnel. Iran has 640,000 active soldiers, 325,000 in reserve. Now, in terms of military expenditure, Iran spends about 7% of their GDP on their military. They spent $21 billion in 2018. In 2018, Israel spent 5.8% of their GDP on their military, about half of what Iran was spending, $11 billion. Now you might say, hey, that's not a fair comparison. Israel is a democracy, and Iran is an autocracy. The Iranian regime can spend more on the military because they don't have to worry about elections. Well, guess what? Israel also has a draft. Every Israeli citizen, male and female, is eligible to be drafted into the military. About 40% of Iran's population is made up of people under the age of 14. There are a lot of children in Iran. A lot of them are going to grow up to be soldiers. Okay, now let's talk about equipment. Iran has 2,700 tanks, 350 fighter jets, 550 combat helicopters. Israel has 350 tanks, 330 fighter jets, 240 combat helicopters. So Iran has almost double the amount of military hardware as Israel. How is that even possible? How can Iran have so much more military power than Israel? It doesn't make sense. Well, it turns out that a lot of Iran's military hardware is old. It's outdated, but because they maintain it, it works. And in terms of actual combat experience, well, Israel has fought several wars since 1948. Iran has not. They haven't been in a war since 1988, and that war was with Iraq. Both sides were essentially using the same equipment, old, outdated equipment from the Shah's army. Neither side had an advantage in terms of military hardware. What about today? Are things different today than they were in 1988? Is Iran a different military power than they were back then? Not really. And that's the biggest reason why Iran has a larger military than Israel, because while Israel has modern equipment, they don't have a lot of it. Their enemies, whether it's Hezbollah or Hamas, don't have fighter jets or tanks or combat helicopters, so Israel doesn't need to have a large standing army. They do need a lot of tanks or fighter jets, because they're not going to face an army that has tanks and fighter jets. Israel has the most powerful air force in the region by far. They have the most powerful navy in the region by far. They do have the most battle tanks in the region, but not by a lot. They have 350, and Iran has 2,700. But quality, as they say, matters more than quantity.
Thanks for watching.